My husband has a mistress? He wants to eliminate me despite how I helped him?
Shh, breathe.
Why is my husband so heartless and wicked? Despite everything I did for him, he still wants to...
Shh.
Serafina.
Dorian and his mistress, they've been poisoning you for 3 weeks. He wants your fortune. You must trust me. You'll be safe. The will is already signed.
I just need her gone.
And the baby? Collateral.
The doctor on duty that night heard every word of their evil plans.
Not tonight. You are going to be fine. Your son is going to be fine. But I need you to trust me completely. Can you do that?
Yes.
They celebrated. They wore my jewelry. They danced over my grave. I let them.
Before we get into this story, hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop your location in the comments. Where in the world are you watching from right now? We want to know exactly where this story is reaching today. Thank you. Now, let's dive into the story. She was one of the most powerful women on Earth, and someone was slowly poisoning her while she was pregnant. The man who ordered it was her husband, and he was sitting 2 floors above her in the hospital waiting lounge, sipping cognac and waiting for her to die. This is what happened next. Her name was Serafina Calloway Duvant, 34 years old, CEO of a global empire stretching across energy, real estate, aerospace, and pharmaceuticals. Forbes had stopped listing her net worth because the number changed every 6 minutes. She had built the kind of life that made people quietly say, "She cannot possibly be real." But on this night, in a private maternity ward in Geneva, Switzerland, she was simply a mother, frightened, trembling, and being murdered slowly. The pain had started 3 hours earlier, sharp, chemical, nothing like ordinary labor. Her vision blurred, her heartbeat stuttered. She pressed her hand to her stomach and felt the baby kick, frantic, desperate, and she whispered to him, "Hold on, my darling, hold on." By the time she reached the hospital, her lips were faintly blue. Her fingers were ice cold despite the August heat. The toxicology screen was still processing. What it would eventually reveal was this: Serafina had been poisoned, slowly, deliberately, over 3 weeks. And the man responsible? Dorian Voss Calloway, her husband of 5 years. The man who had charmed her with poetry at a charity gala, married her in a ceremony broadcast across 3 television networks, and never, not for a single day, loved her. What Dorian had always loved was the empire, the accounts, the name. He had studied Serafina the way a thief studies a lock, patiently, methodically, waiting for the exact moment to take everything. He had worked with a private chemist to develop a compound, colorless, tasteless, undetectable, that he slipped into her food and drink himself over 3 weeks at their own dining table, designed to trigger catastrophic premature labor. Something that looked natural. Something that would make doctors shake their heads and say, "These things happen." He had updated her will, forging her signature, to name himself sole heir. He had a mistress already waiting at their penthouse. He had planned this the way generals plan wars. What he had not planned for was the doctor on duty that night. Dr. Elias Vane was 38, quiet, steady. The kind of doctor who made terrified patients feel, somehow, that everything would be all right. When Serafina was wheeled into his ward, something shifted in the air. He looked at her chart, looked at her vitals, and his jaw tightened. "This is not natural labor." He said nothing yet. He stabilized her, monitored the baby's heartbeat, a tiny, furious heartbeat that absolutely refused to give up. 2 hours into treatment, he stepped into the corridor to review her blood work. And that was when he heard the voices, low, careless, from the family waiting lounge around the corner. Dorian's voice. The chemist said it was enough. Why is she still holding on? A woman's voice, French accent, barely a whisper. These stubborn women, she always was dramatic. Dorian again. If she survives this, we try again. The will is already signed. I just need her gone. And the baby? A pause. Collateral. Elias stood very still. Then something cold moved through him, and something hot replaced it. A fury so controlled, so precise, it felt like a scalpel. He turned, walked back to Serafina's room, pulled a chair close, took her hand. Mrs. Calloway Duvant, he said quietly, you are going to be fine. Your son is going to be fine. But I need you to trust me completely. Can you do that? She studied him, those amber eyes searching his gray ones. Yes, she whispered. And something was sealed between them right there, in that sterile room, with the Alps glittering outside the window and a monster waiting down the hall. Elias moved fast. He had a contact, an agent at the CIA's Geneva field office. They had worked together before. Elias called him from the stairwell at 2:17 a.m., spoke for 4 minutes, and told him everything, word for word. 3 seconds of silence on the other end. Then, get her out, we'll handle the rest. By 4 a.m., Serafina had delivered a tiny,